We started our journey with the recognition that the traditional medical paradigm of having to find some chemical to make your symptoms go away, and if that doesn't work, cut out the offending part and throw it away, and if that doesn't work, you're out of bullets. That's our current medical paradigm, and that's not working terribly well for chronic disease. And so we suggested that an alternative paradigm based on the fact that you're constantly wearing yourself out and having to make new cells, and that chronic disease occurs when you lose the ability to make new cells that work. So that led us to the question, what does it take to make new cells that work? And so we began to understand that characteristic of almost all chronic disease is that you don't have adequate voltage, because it takes minus 25 millivolts to make cells work, and it takes minus 50 millivolts to make new ones. And so if you don't have that, then you can't make new cells, and you're stuck in chronic disease no matter what else you do. We also realized that in addition to having the voltage that it takes to make cells, that we have to have all of the materials it takes to make them. So if a tornado tears your house down and you have to build a new one, but you don't have any shingles and you don't have any doors or windows, it's not a very good house. And so it is with cells. You have to have everything it takes to make cells if they're going to work correctly. And that's where the nutrition piece comes in. Then also we have to deal with all of the toxins that damage cells as fast as we make them. So we have these three different components that we have to deal with. If you look at this diagram that we have on the screen, it shows you basically what you have to do. You have to hook up, if your house is torn down like this, you obviously have to reestablish the voltage. You have to connect the water back again. You have to connect the sewer back again. And you'll eventually need the heating and air conditioning. But of course, in the meantime, you got to have all the materials it takes to make a new house, and then you have to deal with cleanup. So if you focus only on the voltage piece, it will make you better, but it won't make you well. You understand why? You have to do it all. You have to do it all at the same time. You can't do it piecemeal. The only thing that I would tell you is that sometimes when you start cleaning up cells and getting your body going again, if you do it too fast, particularly if you don't have much voltage, then you can overwhelm the kidneys and or the liver so that you start feeling bad. So if that happens to you, you don't stop everything, you just slow it down. So instead of taking a full dose of everything every day, you can either take a full dose every second or third day, or take smaller doses, but just keep working at it until you can finally get your body cleaned up enough that you can go full bore to clean up. Now, one of the things that frustrated me a great deal, both personally and for my patients and compliance for my patients, was I found that I was having to take 20 capsules of stuff every morning, which was annoying and expensive. The other thing was that when I would identify a certain substance that I needed, I had trouble finding it without finding that it contained magnesium stearate, which is a toxin, but is present in almost all pills. And oftentimes you'd find this nutrient, but it contained GMO corn as a filler, obviously undesirable as well. So what I did was I sat down with my physiology books and I went through and I wrote down everything I could find that cells need to work. And then I went to see Carrie Lynn, who's going to speak with you in a moment. She's a biochemist. And I said, I want to put all of this stuff in one bucket so I don't have to take 20 pills every day. But here are the requirements. No preservatives, no fillers, no GMO, no soy, and everything in there has to be in the form that the body can use it. So for those who have methylation defects, we want to be prepared for that, so everything's in its methylated form so it can be used even in people who can't methylate. And so it took her a long time to source pure stuff. It's just hard to find good stuff anymore. So it took her a while, but eventually she came up with this stuff called Restore. Now, We couldn't put iodine, for example, in the Restore because if it sits on a shelf for a few months, they don't play nice. So we had to leave it in a separate bottle. It's okay to have them in your stomach at the same time, but it's not okay to sit on a shelf for a few months at the same time. So we had to leave it separate, and also the raw materials had to be separate. So basically what I did was create a system, and so now I know that if my patients will take this system, I can quit thinking about the nutrition piece, which makes my life and my patient's life much simpler.